You're looking at my data. That's my project on the screen. The words left my mouth before I could stop them. The boardroom froze. 12 executives turned to stare at me, then at Derek, who stood confidently beside the projection of what was undeniably my work. Derek's smile didn't falter. I think you're confused, Michael. Perhaps we can discuss this after my presentation? I wasn't confused. I was betrayed. My name is Michael Chen. For 6 years, I've been a senior project manager at Horizon Technologies. I've led 17 successful product launches. I've worked weekends, missed vacations, and postponed my wedding to meet deadlines. The company was my second home, my team like family. Until 3 months ago, when Derek Sullivan joined our department. The Aurora project was my baby. 2 years of research, development, and testing. It wasn't just a project, it was my pathway to the director position that would open when Barbara retired next month. Everyone knew I was the front runner. Everyone except Derek. I first noticed small things. Files moved on the shared drive. Meeting notes altered. Team members suddenly unavailable when I needed them. But I never imagined he'd go this far. I stared at my slides, my data displayed under Derek's name. The room remained silent, tension building like an electrical storm. Michael, please take a seat, Barbara said firmly. Derek, continue. I sat, numb with shock. My career was unraveling before my eyes. Derek cleared his throat. As I was saying, the Aurora marketing platform shows a projected 43% increase in customer acquisition. My stomach nodded. That was my analysis, my conclusion, my future being stolen in real time. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. A text from Jenny, my assistant. Check your email now. 3 months earlier, I'd been working late. The office was quiet, just the hum of the HVAC system and the occasional ping of late-night emails. You must be Michael, the famous Michael Chen. I looked up to see a tall man with perfect teeth in an expensive suit. His handshake was firm, confident. Derek Sullivan, and I'm joining the strategy team tomorrow. We chatted briefly. He seemed pleasant enough, Harvard MBA, experience at 2 Fortune 500 companies. Barbara had mentioned hiring a new senior manager, but I hadn't expected someone so polished. Looking forward to working together, he said as he left. I should have noticed the way his eyes lingered on the Aurora files on my desk. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Derek integrated himself quickly. He volunteered for committees. He brought coffee for the administrative staff. He organized happy hours. Everyone loved him. He's like you, but with better social skills, joked Priya from marketing. I laughed it off. I was secure in my position, respected for my work ethic and results. I didn't need to be the office favorite. Then the small disruptions began. Files I needed for meetings would be misplaced. Team members would receive conflicting instructions. Clients would mention conversations with Derek about my project that I knew nothing about. Just helping lighten your load, Derek would say with that perfect smile when I confronted him. I raised concerns with Barbara, but she dismissed them. Michael, you've been working too hard. Derek's a team player. Maybe you could learn something from him about delegation. I felt a growing unease, but I focused on the Aurora project. It was revolutionary, a predictive marketing platform that could transform how our clients engage with customers. The preliminary results were exceptional. Then came the email that changed everything. Michael, I need the Aurora presentation by tomorrow morning. The executive committee has moved the review up. Derek mentioned you might need help finalizing it. Let me know. Barbara. I hadn't told Derek about the executive review. I hadn't told anyone except Jenny, and the presentation wasn't due for another 2 weeks. Something was very wrong. I worked through the night finalizing the Aurora presentation. By 7 a.m., I had a polished deck ready to send to Barbara. My phone rang. It was Jenny. Michael, Barbara's executive assistant, just told me the Aurora review is scheduled for 10 a.m. today. Did you know? I hadn't. The review was supposed to be informal, just Barbara and me. Now it was a full executive presentation with no notice. And Michael, Derek's name is on the presenter list. My blood ran cold. What? He told Barbara he's been helping you with the project. She added him to present the market analysis section. I rushed to the office, catching Derek in the break room. What are you doing? I demanded. You haven't been working on Aurora. His smile never wavered. Michael, relax. Barbara asked me to help since you've been so overwhelmed lately. I'm just covering the market section. With what data? You don't have access to my research. Actually, I do. Barbara gave me access to the shared drive last week. Don't worry, I've got this. We're a team, right? He patted my shoulder and walked away, leaving me speechless. The presentation was a disaster for me. Derek spoke first, presenting a comprehensive market analysis using my data, but with additional insights I hadn't included. He seamlessly transitioned into technical aspects that were supposed to be my section. As Michael and I discovered in our analysis, he would say, or building on Michael's initial work, I found that he was positioning himself as the project lead while making it seem like we were collaborators. The executives were impressed, especially with the parts that were entirely my work. When my turn came, I had little left to present that Derek hadn't already covered. I appeared unprepared, disorganized. After the meeting, Barbara pulled me aside. Michael, what happened in there? Derek carried that presentation. Barbara, I know you've been resistant to his involvement, but you saw how the committee responded. His market insights were brilliant. Those were my insights. He took my data and, Michael, her tone was sharp, I'm concerned about this attitude. Derek is bringing fresh energy to the team. I need you to work with him, not against him. I walked back to my office in a daze. Jenny was waiting. How bad was it? He's positioning to take over Aurora, and Barbara's buying it. What are you going to do? I had no answer. For the first time in my career, I felt completely outmaneuvered. Over the next few weeks, Derek systematically infiltrated every aspect of the Aurora project. He scheduled meetings with key stakeholders when I was unavailable. He copied my emails to Barbara, adding his own insights. He cultivated relationships with my team members. Derek asked me to run these numbers for Aurora, Raj, one of my analysts, told me one day. What numbers? I didn't authorize that. Raj looked uncomfortable. He said you were aware that it was a priority for Barbara. The pattern was clear. Derek was creating a parallel workflow, building his own version of Aurora using my team and my research. I tried documenting the sabotage, but Derek was careful. There was never anything explicit, just a pattern of small disruptions and manipulations that, taken together, amounted to a hostile takeover of my project. Meanwhile, Barbara grew increasingly impressed with Derek's contributions. The board is very excited about Aurora, she told me. Derek's market segmentation approach has really elevated the concept. My market segmentation approach, I corrected. Derek hasn't developed any original components for this project. Barbara frowned. Michael, this territorial behavior is concerning. Great leaders share credit. I'm happy to share credit for collaborative work. This isn't that. I think you're too emotionally invested in this project. Maybe you need some distance. That night, I couldn't sleep. 6 years of loyal service, and Barbara was buying into Derek's manipulation without question. The director position, my position, was slipping away. Jenny found me the next morning, staring blankly at my computer. Michael, something weird is happening. Derek asked me to compile all the Aurora documentation for Barbara. He said you approved it. I didn't. I know, that's why I'm here. She hesitated. I think he's preparing to present the final project to leadership. Without you. My stomach dropped. When? Next week. There's a meeting on the calendar with all the VPs. Your name isn't on the invite. This was it, Derek's endgame. Present my work as his own to the executive leadership, position himself as the innovative force behind Aurora, and secure the director position that should have been mine. Jenny, I need you to do something for me. It's important. The day of Derek's presentation arrived. I sat at my desk watching the clock. The meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. in the main boardroom. Derek had been unusually friendly that morning. Big day for Aurora, he said, stopping by my office. Wish me luck. You're presenting Aurora to leadership today? I asked innocently. His smile flickered slightly. Just a progress update, nothing formal. Sounds important. Need any help with the materials? All set, thanks. Been working on this deck all week. I nodded. Good luck then. At 1:55 p.m., I walked to the boardroom. Through the glass walls, I could see the executive team assembling. Derek was connecting his laptop to the projector, looking confident in a new suit. I took a deep breath and entered. Derek looked up, surprised. "Michael, this is just a quick update meeting. No need for you to sit in." "Actually," said Barbara, "I invited Michael. Since Aurora is his project, he should be here." Derek's smile tightened. "Of course, happy to have him." I took a seat at the far end of the table as Derek began his presentation. The first slide appeared on the screen. Aurora Project Revolutionizing Predictive Marketing by Derek Sullivan. My name was nowhere to be seen. As Derek launched into his presentation, using my research, my analysis, my conclusions, I felt a strange calm descend. I'd expected to feel rage, but instead I felt clarity. I watched him confidently present slide after slide of my work. The executives were engaged, asking questions that Derek answered using information from my reports. Then he reached the market analysis section, the heart of the project. "This proprietary segmentation model is what truly sets Aurora apart," Derek explained, gesturing to a complex chart. "By identifying these micro-conversion patterns, we can predict customer behavior with 43% greater accuracy than current methods." That's when I spoke up. "You're looking at my data. That's my project on the screen." The room went silent. Derek's smile remained fixed, but his eyes hardened. "I think you're confused, Michael. Perhaps we can discuss this after my presentation." Barbara intervened. "Michael, please take a seat. Derek, continue." I sat down, feeling the weight of 12 executive stares. Derek resumed his presentation, but there was a new tension in the room. I checked my phone. The text from Jenny. "Check your email now." I opened my inbox to find a message from Jenny with a single attachment, a video file. As Derek continued presenting, I quietly sent the file to Barbara with a simple message. "Please watch this before Derek finishes." I saw Barbara glance at her phone, frown, then discreetly put in an earpiece to watch the video. Her expression changed from confusion to shock to anger. Derek was wrapping up his presentation. "In conclusion, Aurora represents a paradigm shift in how we approach digital marketing. I believe this platform will position Horizon as an industry leader for years to come." Applause started but quickly died as Barbara stood up. "Thank you, Derek. Before we continue, I'd like to address something." She turned to me. "Michael, you mentioned this was your project. Can you elaborate?" All eyes turned to me. This was the moment. "Aurora has been my project for 2 years. Every slide in that presentation contains my research, my analysis, and my conclusions. Derek has never contributed to the actual development of Aurora. What he has done is systematically undermine my position and appropriate my work." Derek laughed dismissively. "This is absurd. Michael and I have been collaborating on Aurora for months. He's clearly upset about sharing credit." "Actually," I said calmly, "we haven't been collaborating, and I can prove it." I nodded to Barbara, who addressed the room. "I've just viewed some concerning evidence. I think we need to pause this presentation." Derek's confidence wavered for the first time. "What evidence?" Barbara turned her laptop around. On the screen was a video of Derek in my office after hours, copying files from my computer onto a flash drive. The timestamp showed it was from 2 nights ago. "Jenny installed a security camera in my office last month," I explained, "after noticing files being accessed without my knowledge." The color drained from Derek's face. "I was just collecting materials for today's presentation, as part of our team effort. The video shows you accessing my personal drive, not the shared project folders," I said. "And there's more." I pulled out a folder and distributed copies of emails and documents to everyone at the table. "These are the original Aurora files with metadata showing creation dates and authorship. Alongside them are Derek's versions, identical in content, but with modified authorship data." The executives examined the evidence in stunned silence. "And finally," I said, "statements from team members documenting how Derek gave them assignments while falsely claiming they came from me, scheduled conflicting meetings, and misrepresented his role in the project." Derek's perfect facade cracked. "This is a setup. Michael's been hostile since I arrived. He's threatened by new ideas." "New ideas?" I interrupted. "Name one original contribution you've made to Aurora. One analysis, one feature, one insight that wasn't in my original documentation. Derek opened his mouth, then closed it. Barbara stood up. I think we've seen enough. Derek, please wait in my office. Michael, please stay. Everyone else will reconvene tomorrow. As the executives filed out, many nodding supportively to me, Derek made one last attempt. Barbara, this is clearly a misunderstanding. My office, now. When the room cleared, Barbara sat heavily in her chair. Michael, I owe you an apology. I should have listened when you raised concerns. Yes, you should have, she nodded, accepting the rebuke. How long has this been happening? Since he arrived, it started small, moved files, canceled meetings, then escalated to taking credit for my work and undermining my authority with the team. Why didn't you show me this evidence sooner? I needed to be certain, and I needed to see how far he would go. Barbara looked at the presentation still displayed on the screen, my work with Derek's name on it. He was positioning for your job, she said quietly. Yes. The director position. Yes, she sighed. It's yours, you know, it always was. I just wanted to see how you'd handle competition. I stared at her. You brought Derek in as a test? Not as a saboteur, as a peer. I needed to know you could lead under pressure. She gestured to the evidence I'd compiled. Though I'd say this shows initiative, strategic thinking, and patience, all qualities the position requires. I wasn't sure whether to feel vindicated or manipulated. What happens to Derek? That's not your concern, but he won't be continuing with Horizon. She stood up. The executive team will want the real Aurora presentation. Your presentation. Can you be ready tomorrow? I nodded. I've been ready for 2 years. The next day I presented Aurora to the executive team. My project, my vision, my future. The presentation was a success. The questions were engaged, enthusiastic. When I finished, the CEO himself stood to shake my hand. Impressive work, Michael. Barbara tells me you'll be joining the leadership team next month. We're lucky to have you. As the executives filed out, Jenny appeared at the door with a thumbs up. Behind her stood my team, Raj, Priya, and the others, all smiling proudly. Barbara was the last to leave. Congratulations, Director Chen. It's official, as of today. After everyone left, I sat alone in the boardroom, looking at the final slide of my presentation. The Aurora logo, a design I'd sketched on a napkin 2 years ago, glowed on the screen. My phone buzzed with a text from my fiancée. Did you get it? I smiled and replied, Director Chen reporting for duty. 3 dots appeared as she typed her response. Finally! Now can we set a wedding date? I laughed out loud in the empty room. In all the chaos of the past months, I'd almost forgotten why the promotion mattered so much. The future we'd put on hold while I climbed the corporate ladder. As I packed up my materials, I noticed Derek's notebook left behind on the table. Inside was a detailed plan, Aurora takeover strategy with bullet points documenting every step he'd taken to undermine me. The final point made me pause. Present full project to leadership while MC on vacation, scheduled for next month. He'd planned to make his move while I was away at what would have been my wedding. I closed the notebook and left it on Barbara's desk without a note. The next morning, Derek's office was empty, his personal items gone, his nameplate removed. It was as if he'd never existed. Priya stopped by my office with coffee. Heard the news, Director Chen. Well deserved. Thanks, and thanks for your statement. It helped. She nodded. What Derek did was wrong, but you know what impressed me most? You didn't sink to his level. You just gathered evidence and let the truth speak. I thought about that as I settled into my new office the following week. The director's office had a view of the city skyline, sleek furniture, and enough room for proper meeting space. Jenny helped me unpack my things. So, learned anything from all this? I placed my family photo on the desk, my parents, my sister, my fiancé, and me at Christmas. Several things. Document everything. Trust my instincts. And most importantly, I smiled at the photo. Never postpone what really matters for a job. Speaking of which, Jenny handed me an envelope. Wedding planning brochures. Caitlin dropped them off. Said to tell you no more excuses. I laughed. She's right. As Jenny left, my phone rang. An unknown number. Michael Chen. Michael, it's Derek. I nearly dropped the phone. What do you want? To apologize? To explain? I don't know. He sounded different, the smooth confidence gone. I got offered a VP position at Horizon. Did you know that? No. Barbara dangled it in front of me my first week. Said there was another candidate, but that I could prove myself more valuable. He laughed bitterly. I believed her. The pieces clicked into place. Barbara had played us against each other. So you decided to steal my work. I decided to win, by any means necessary. A pause. I was wrong. Yes, you were. For what it's worth, Aurora is brilliant. You deserve the recognition. I said nothing. Anyway, I'm leaving town, starting over somewhere new. I just wanted you to know it wasn't personal. It was personal to me, Derek. It was my life's work. I understand that now. Another pause. Goodbye, Michael. The line went dead. I sat in my new office, turning the conversation over in my mind. Barbara had manipulated both of us, testing me while tempting Derek. Neither of us had seen the complete picture. A knock on my door interrupted my thoughts. It was Barbara. Getting settled in? Yes, just had an interesting call from Derek. She didn't flinch. Did you? What did he want? To tell me about the VP position you offered him, the one he could earn by outperforming me. Barbara closed the door and sat down. Business is competition, Michael. I needed to know what both of you were made of. So you engineered this whole situation? I created an opportunity. You both chose your paths. She leaned forward. Derek chose deception. You chose integrity and strategic patience. That's why you're sitting in that chair and he's not. And if he had succeeded, if I hadn't caught him, then he would have proven himself the more effective operator. She shrugged. But I knew you wouldn't let that happen. I studied her, seeing her clearly for the first time. Barbara wasn't just a mentor. She was a chess master, and we had all been her pieces. The director position opens next month, I said, but you gave it to me today. Why? Because you're ready now, and because the board approved my promotion to COO yesterday. She smiled. I'll need a strong director of strategy beside me. She stood to leave, then paused at the door. One more thing. Take the vacation. Marry that girl. The company will survive 2 weeks without you. After she left, I sat in silence, processing everything. The betrayal, the vindication, the manipulation, the promotion, all of it. Finally, I picked up my phone and called my fiancée. Caitlin, how does next month sound? For the wedding? Her excited response made me smile. Yes, I'm sure. Some things are more important than work. I looked out at the city skyline from my new office, the director's office, and felt a sense of peace. I had earned this, not through sabotage or manipulation, but through hard work and integrity. And now it was time to focus on what really mattered.